Hello everyone! Welcome to Untold History, the channel where we explore the lesser-known but pivotal events of world history. Today we move to the year 539 BC to analyze one of the most shocking events in ancient history, the fall of Babylon to the army of Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Achaemenid Empire. Not only did this event mark the end of the glorious Neo-Babylonian Empire, but it also marked the beginning of the Persian Empire's expansion into the Near Eastern region. This event surprised many civilizations, not only because of Babylon's importance as one of the most influential cities of antiquity, but also because of the way Cyrus managed to take the city without resorting to widespread destruction or prolonged direct conflict. Not only did he cement his position as one of the greatest conquerors in history, but he also established a model of government that was tolerant and respectful of conquered cultures. To understand its fall, we must go back in time to understand the importance of Babylon and its place in the history of the Middle East. Babylon was one of the great cities of antiquity, and had reached its apogee under the rule of King Nebuchadnezzar II, who is remembered for his vast building works, which included the legendary Hanging Gardens of Babylon, considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. He also strengthened the walls of Babylon, making the city one of the most imposing in the world at the time. Under his rule, Babylon became the center of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, a regional power that controlled vast swathes of territory, from southern Mesopotamia to parts of Syria and the Levant. During his reign, he carried out numerous military campaigns, including the famous destruction of the Temple in Jerusalem in 586. In addition, it flourished as a center of commerce, culture, and knowledge, standing out for its advances in astronomy, mathematics, and literature. However, after Nebuchadnezzar's death, the Neo-Babylonian Empire began to experience a series of internal crises. The stability that had been achieved began to crumble under the rule of his successors. Among them, one of the most notable kings was Nabonidus, who came to the throne around 556. Although he was an able and ambitious king, his reign came under fire due to his religious policy, which alienated many powerful factions within Babylon, particularly the clergy of Marduk, the city's chief god. One of the most controversial decisions was his preference for the god Sin, the moon god, whom he worshipped over Marduk. Nabonidus even moved his court to the city of Temama, in the Arabian desert, causing him to be absent from Babylon for long periods. This further weakened his authority and created a climate of discontent among the Babylonians, especially among the priests of Marduk. Meanwhile, in the east, a new power was emerging under the leadership of Cyrus II, known as Cyrus the Great. This came from the Persians, a people who lived in the region of Persia, present-day Iran, and who until that time had been under the control of the Medes, a civilization that had dominated the region of Central Asia. However, around 550, Cyrus managed to unify the Persian tribes and overthrew the last Median king, Astyages, thus consolidating his power over the ancient Median Empire. Cyrus soon expanded his domains. Within a few years, he managed to create a vast empire stretching from the Indus River to the Mediterranean. His most important conquest up to that point was the annexation of the Lydian Empire, ruled by the legendary King Croesus in 546. With Lydia under his control, he had access to the vast resources and trade routes of the eastern Mediterranean. However, his ambition did not stop there. He soon set his sights on Babylon. Cyrus' campaign began in 540 when his troops advanced from Persia into Mesopotamia. Unlike other conquistadors who used force to impose their power, this one employed a combination of military, political, and diplomatic tactics that allowed him to weaken his enemies from within. One of the most effective strategies was to present himself not as an invader, but as a liberator. He took advantage of the discontent within Babylon, and in his inscriptions claimed that he was acting under the auspices of Marduk, the chief god of Babylon, and that his goal was to restore traditional worship and free the city from Nabonidus' oppression. This propaganda strategy proved very effective. Many cities and regions of the Neo-Babylonian Empire surrendered without a fight, preferring to be under the rule of Cyrus, who promised respect for their traditions and religions rather than continue under the unpopular regime of Nabonidus. On October 6, 539, Cyrus and his army reached the vicinity of Babylon. According to ancient sources, including inscriptions on the Cyrus cylinder, the Persians managed to enter the city without resistance. Legend holds that Cyrus' soldiers diverted the course of the Euphrates River, which flowed through Babylon, and entered through the dry riverbed. Although this version may be somewhat embellished, the truth is that the capture of Babylon was remarkably peaceful compared to other conquests of the time. When he entered the city, he was greeted as a deliverer by many of the inhabitants. The Babylonian king, who was in the city at the time, was captured without much effort. By some accounts, Nabonidus was exiled rather than executed, a policy that reflected Cyrus' clemency toward defeated rulers, contrasting with the brutality of other ancient conquerors. In addition, instead of destroying the city, as was common in the conquests of the time, he chose to preserve its infrastructure, its culture, and its religion. Shortly after his entry into the city, he issued the famous Cyrus cylinder, a decree written in cuneiform script that proclaimed his policies of respect for local religions and cultures. This is considered by many to be one of the first human rights documents in history. In it, Cyrus declared that he had been chosen by Marduk to rule Babylon and that his goal was to restore peace and order. It also proclaims the liberation of captive peoples, including the Jewish people, which allowed them to return to their homeland in Judah and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, making him a highly respected figure in Jewish tradition. Capture of Babylon was a transformative event in the history of the Near East. Cyrus consolidated his rule over Mesopotamia and became the ruler of an empire that stretched from the Mediterranean to the Indus River. Under his leadership, the Achaemenid Empire became the first global superpower in history, encompassing a diversity of peoples, cultures, and religions. Cyrus' policy of governing with tolerance and respect for local traditions became one of the keys to the success of his empire. Under Persian rule, the city continued to be an important cultural and economic center. Although no longer the capital of an independent empire, Babylon continued to prosper as one of the great cities of the Persian Empire. Even after the fall of the Achaemenid Empire to Alexander the Great in the 4th century BC, it continued to be an influential city in the Hellenistic world. Because of Cyrus' vision and policies, the Persian Empire became a model of multicultural government that influenced the civilizations that succeeded it. Thank you for joining us in this analysis of the fall of Babylon. If you liked the episode, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell for more revealing stories in Untold Story. See you in the next one.